Welcome to the Experience Gap, the insight shop to the rescue, where we turn customer nightmares into teachable moments for businesses. Each week, we bring you real stories of service breakdowns, highlight the moments that matter, and equip businesses with strategies to delight their customers. I'm Kate Complin, the owner of the Insight Shop. I created this podcast to give customers a voice, to share their stories and frustrations, in hopes that companies would take notice, listen, and take action, as customers are your most important assets. Justin Wood, with me today, is an online anthropologist, a specialist in mining organic online conversations to uncover the true human motivations that open doors to new opportunities for growth. Justin believes that unbridled curiosity is the engine that drives great research and turns insights into action. He founded HiveMind Insights after working in key strategic insight roles in both corporate and agency environments. Justin, it's great to have you on my podcast.
Thank you, Kate. It's great to be here.
Justin, before you share your poor experience about your new rental car experience, share with the audience some attributes that make experiences great.
Some key parts of a great customer experience is a clear set of expectations, knowing what to generally expect from the experience, but then also making room for delight and having things happen seamlessly. The best service experiences that I've ever had have happened so smoothly and naturally that I didn't even notice some of it. Disney has a model that's fantastic for service. They gather a lot of information about each guest, and every time you check in, they download that information and look at it and understand a little bit about you first. So they've been primed to understand what you like and want and need. They also leave a bit of room for delight. Every day, someone from a Disney resort is allowed to do something very special for one customer. One of the examples I have is at the resort. I was going to build one of those lightsabers with some other middle-aged men. I had an appointment to do that, and I walked up to one of these rides, and I inquired how long the line was because I wanted to ride the ride, but I didn't want to lose my spot for my very important lightsaber assembly. I told the person at the line, and she said, "You're not going to make it. It's too long of a line." She paused for a minute and she said, "You know what? I have something for you." And she let me get into the fast track line. She did that knowing that was her opportunity for the delight day to give me that delight and let me do both.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing your perspective there. Oh, I want you to tell the audience about your car rental experience at New. What fell
Mm.
short, what happened, and how did it impact you?
Last year, I was traveling to Phoenix. It was a personal vacation and wanted to rent something fun, kind of a sporty car. And I found the best rate at a company I hadn't heard of before called New Car Rentals. And I booked my car. Everything looked the same as it normally did, renting from any other agency. And I get to Phoenix, and already something's weird. You don't get to go down to where the shuttle is that takes you to the other cars. It's a different shuttle, and you have to walk outside to the end of the terminal, go down a special set of stairs, and wait at a different area. That's where you find out that a shuttle comes every hour. I wish I had known that. I would have planned or set my arrival times differently. But it's okay. We're on vacation. We're trying to relax. Shuttle shows up. Driver's very nice, but makes it very clear that he works on tips. Immediately, without anything else, is just the first thing out of his mouth is, "I work on tips." So I'm like, all right, this guy wants a tip. We'll see how the drive goes. He's pleasant. He does a great job. He takes us where we need to go. That was actually fine. We get to the rental agency, and it's a confusing building, not very well marked. We walk in. There's a waiting area, but you don't see a desk. You don't see any agents. But there are cubicles set up to the side, but there's nobody. So you're not really sure where to go. Someone happens to see us looking aimless and motions us towards a waiting area. And then we're just waiting to hear next called from a series of cubicles where you cannot see who's talking. You hear next, but you don't know who said it. So you walk down the middle of this cubicle and you're trying to make eye contact with someone, and someone is urgently waving. We go through the whole process, and all of that is actually normal. We're back on track here. We figured that out. And you're thinking, you could consider a different setup in here. But so far it's going fine, and I don't feel like sharing that feedback just yet. We get our piece of paper that has our rental agreement on it, and they say, go ahead and wait outside, and you're going to hand this to the person in the orange vest. They're going to go retrieve your car, and you'll be on your way. So we walk outside. I see the nice lady in the orange vest. I show her my rental agreement. She takes it from me. She walks away from me. About 5 minutes later, walks back, empty-handed, and she's like, "Hi," and looking at me as if we've just met. I said, "Are you retrieving my car? Someone else retrieving my car?" She's like, "I need your rental agreement in order to retrieve your car." Why? I handed you my rental agreement about 5 minutes ago. She's like, "No, you didn't." Yeah, no, I did. I don't remember that. Where is it? I'm like, I don't know. You had it and you walked over there and came back without it. So I would check over there. So she's like, oh my. So she walks back over where she was, talks for a minute, comes back, goes, I couldn't find it. What's your name? Give her my info. She writes it on a post-it, walks away for another few minutes, comes back and says, we figured it out. We're going to pull your car up. So they back a car up to me, which matches the description of the car that I'm going to get. She's opening the trunk. She's inspecting it. She's like, is everything good to go? Then I see them back up a identical car next to that. There's two of the same car side by side, and another woman behind me walks up and says, that's my car. And they go, I know, but we're handling this. So it's clear that her and I are both rented the same vehicle. So we get in our cars, we drive off. And then 2 days later, I get an email from New that says, thank you for renting from New. Here are the pictures from your return. Please come back and visit us anytime. And I'm looking at it, and my car was black. The one next to me was blue. They send me images of a blue car that's been returned. And so I'm like, oh, now they've confused these two vehicles. So now I'm emailing them saying, I didn't return my car. I'm supposed to have my car for a week. I don't know who that is. Here's my information. And the response I get back from the customer care email is, we're going to try and contact the office and we'll get back to you. And I'm like, this isn't the office? This is a national email? A day goes by and I don't hear anything. And I get another notice that says, thanks again so much for your rental. And I email again and say, I did not return this car. And I get a message that says, we can't get any hold of anyone in the Phoenix office, but we're still trying. I eventually just call the Phoenix new office myself, tell them the situation. They're really confused, and the person I talked to does have no clue how to handle this, needs to talk to a manager. Manager's not there. She's going to call me back. Of course, hours go by. I call again, get the manager on the phone, hasn't heard that news from anyone in the office, so that whatever I said hours earlier was not relayed. This person finally figures it out and goes, okay, I got you. All right, we fixed it. I hadn't mentioned they had charged me the final price of the other person's rental. So I ended up not only not returning that car, but paid for that car somehow too. I'm trying to sit by this pool and just sort of relax during the day. I can't stop thinking about this being what they're doing right now. They finally figure it out. Okay, you're the black car. Sorry about that. You're all set. So the rest of the vacation is quiet from New. Seems like it's okay. Return the car on the very last day. And everything's seemingly fine. We drop it off and everything was normal. Fly home, get off the flight, and there's an email in my inbox when I land that says, you haven't returned your vehicle. If you need an extension, let us know. And of course, I did return it. Here are the pictures. Here's my receipt. What do I do next? And I don't get an answer. And then the next day, you still haven't returned. So this goes on for like 2 more days. And I'm not talking to the Phoenix office anymore because they're not returning calls. If I do talk to someone, messages don't get relayed, or the person I'm talking to has no clue who to talk to, or the person that makes the decisions isn't there. So I'm just working with the customer care team wherever they are, and they're kind of baffled at this whole situation. We finally sorted out after like 4 days and 4 emails of how my car's late. And they've charged me for 4 late days. And we've had to reverse all the charges and reverse the initial wrong customer charge. At that point, I was like, I'd just like a full refund, which they're willing to do half. And I'm like, okay. I'll just take half of that and be on my way. But by far the most frustrating and confusing customer service experience I have ever had, bar none.
Yeah, that's Absolutely
Yeah.
crazy. In that experience, what are some moments that really mattered to you to go right? When you rent a car, what are the most important moments in that rental car experience to you?
First, I need to know exactly how to find this rental car place. I need to know that you're expecting me and you know that I want what I'm there for. The car's ready. It's the right car, and there's no confusion over any of that process. You know, you're renting a vehicle. It's an expensive thing. If you break it, you're in big trouble. It feels like there's a lot of expectations in those moments of just making sure everything's accurate and as expected.
What would you say throughout your story, your experience were the biggest pain points for you personally?
The biggest pain points were just the complete lack of accountability from any person with any of the interactions. I don't know who fixes that. It really needed someone to take ownership of the situation and say, I will take it from here. I will figure out what's going on and I will keep you updated as I go if it goes longer than we expect it to. But you will always know what I'm doing and will always know when I'm going to contact you back and tell you what's happening. There was just a complete hands off. I don't really know what to do here, but I'll find out and I'll get back to you sort of attitude. The most baffling one was first interaction where my rental agreement was just lost and the person literally disagreed that I had just handed it to her. I can't help you with this. So
Right.
the accountability piece and communication was sorely.
In summary, how should have the car rental experience gone for you?
I'll take it from this disastrous situation. How should it have gone? Someone, a manager at that branch, should have taken this and quarterbacked it all the way through and made sure that someone was managing this whole process. All communication should just come to this one person. Here is my direct line. Here is my email address. I will keep you posted. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what you can expect from me. It needed a quarterback.
I heard things too, like not getting back to you,
Mm-hmm.
all these extra expenses that, I mean, you're a professional. Imagine a younger person that's just starting out in their life is getting all these charges and, wouldn't have even been able to afford them. Then started
Mm-hmm.
having credit card finance fees and all sorts of things. And you're also trying to enjoy your vacation. Not only did you call once, not only did you have one day of your vacation affected, but you had multiple days. And then when you
Mm-hmm.
come back from vacation and you are busy and getting back into your work life and your everyday, then you're having to deal with it again. And so how can companies make things easy for their customer and take off the burden when things go wrong versus in your case it was just kind of put all over you to solve and figure out, and if you didn't you would have been stuck with all these extra expenses and them thinking you still had this car.
Exactly right. I think you nailed it there with the burden was on me to sort this out, and that's not the customer's responsibility.
No. I'll leave you with this. The American Customer Satisfaction Index reported that overall car rental industries dropped 3% year over year in their ACSI score of 75 out of 100 due to timeliness and efficiency of pickup, drop-off processes. So for you, you had to wait an entire hour to get picked up. Vehicle cleanliness and appearance, courtesy and helpfulness of staff. Now, maybe the people are nice, but they certainly weren't helpful in any part of the process, and they weren't able to figure out your problem immediately. It took multiple conversations and multiple days. Also, transparency of fees, so those add-ons, those insurance, and then the New York Post shares that AI scanners at U.S. airports used to detect minor damages bill customers automatically, so they don't even let you know that they are billing you for some little scratch they found. Some reported being charged $340 for a 1-inch scuff. So now customers have to make extra effort to thoroughly inspect and photograph their rental before taking it off the lot, read all fees to make sure they're not being charged for something they did not want, will not use, and know their rental contract in detail. Car rental companies are making the customer experience very difficult and putting more and more on the renter, which Justin, you experience. So
Mhm.
which company will come forward making it more transparent and easier to do business with them? Whoever does will come out the winner with customers for sure. Thank you, Justin, for sharing your story about your car rental experience with New.
Yeah,
And thanks
thank
for
you.
listeners for tuning in to the Experience Gap, the Insight Shop to the rescue, helping businesses turn frustration into delight, one experience at a time.